Hi, this is Gal Beckerman, and I'm standing here in Brighton Beach, Brooklyn, home to many, many Russian Jews, and I want to talk a little bit about my book, When They Come For Us, We'll Be Gone, The Epic Struggle to Save Soviet Jewry. The source of my interest in the book actually goes very deep in a way. Back when I was 13, like a lot of other American Jews, I had a Soviet twin during my bar mitzvah. This was a program that was started in order to kind of personalize the Soviet Jewry movement. So a lot of young American Jews were given twins, young people who couldn't have their bar mitzvah. And somehow the story of Maxim Yankelevich living in Moscow somehow triggered my imagination and never really left me. And years later, when I wanted to learn more about the movement, I looked into it and realized that nothing had really been written about what was essentially an incredibly dramatic and important story. I also find the movement interesting for other reasons. I'm the grandchild of Holocaust survivors, and I was always very much fascinated with this notion of the world after the war. How Jewish communities and Jewish people who had suffered so much had kind of reconstituted themselves and learned how to live normal lives again. I looked at my grandparents who had gone through so much, and I knew them as people who went on to raise families, who had relatively normal lives. And I wanted to understand what this process was. And as I kind of got to know the story of the Soviet Jewry movement more, I understood the role that it played for the two largest diaspora communities in the world in helping them kind of overcome, whatever residual feelings, residual trauma existed from the war. For American Jews, the Soviet Jewry movement was a way to kind of channel a lot of energy, a lot of guilt that they had been feeling, that they hadn't done enough during the war to help European Jews. And for Russian Jews who were kind of left stranded after the war, left in a Soviet Union that didn't really want them but wouldn't let them leave, the Soviet Jewry movement was a way to kind of push for a Jewish identity again. If not inside the Soviet Union, then a chance to leave and to live in a place where they could have that sort of identity. So from the late 1980s, 87, 88, until the end of the 1990s, nearly 1.5 million Soviet Jews left. They went mostly to Israel. About 1 million went to Israel, and many of them came here and are probably sitting on the beach behind me. But this happened at a moment of real historical change, and for a lot of people the notion was, okay, well, this door was kicked down, but it was probably just like other things that happened at the end of the Cold War. I mean, new countries were established, empires fell. But the truth is that kind of reverses the cause and effect a little bit, because although maybe the people on the beach behind me weren't involved in the movement, there was a strong core group of people who, for nearly 3 decades, from the 60s until the end of the Cold War, really struggled from inside the Soviet Union to get out. They used everything at their disposal, from Soviet law to getting Western activists to support their cause. And that push really had an important effect on ending the Cold War.